Think the only way that you can integrate with the Power Platform as a pro dev is with APIs and custom connectors? Well, think again. Linda Nichols is here with us today on the Low Code Revolution to show how we can do event-driven integration with the Power Platform. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Low Code Revolution. I'm your host, April Dunham, and today we're joined by Linda Nichols, who's an App Innovation Global Black Belt here at Microsoft. Welcome to the show, Linda.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. So I'm sure you get this all the time, but Global Black Belt is probably the coolest job title in all of Microsoft job titles. So you mind telling everyone a little bit about what specifically you do as an App Innovation Global Black Belt here?
Sure. So my team, we help customers with all things relating to apps. So that might be what you think of as a traditional app that's hosted in Azure. We help pro developers and we also help low-code developers. So really all applications. And my team is really interested in Fusion teams and the Fusion development story.
Awesome. And Fusion development is what we love talking about here on the show, how the pro devs and system devs and everyone can work together to build solutions. And one of the things that I think you brought to show us was how we can integrate Azure IoT with the Power Platform. Because I know a lot when we're talking about pro dev integration, a lot of the focus tends to be on custom connectors and API integration and all that. But I love this example that you brought with us to show today about how to kind of do more of an event-driven kind of integration with the Power Platform. So can you tell us a little bit about, how you came up with this, how it works?
Sure. So there was already a sample in our Azure samples of an IoT architecture. And so we had a customer story that was very similar to this architecture. And so we thought about what would this look like if we added some low-code components. So we added some Power Automate, Power Apps, but also ultimately made this collaborative app that we could run inside of Teams with a Power Virtual Agent. And so we added the low-code pieces to some of the existing architecture, combined it together, and then turned it into a severe weather alerting system. So the concept is that there are devices running on edge that are in tornado-prone areas, and they are collecting data, transmitting data to the system, and then the system is sending the events through Azure and then ultimately to Power Platform through a Power Automate workflow. So here's the example that I'm going to show today. We have this. This is open sourced in our App Innovation GBB GitHub, and this is called Tornado Watchdog, which the name is sort of based on the Azure sample that I mentioned that I have linked here in the GitHub repo. But I'm going to talk through the architecture a little bit. I'm not going to really show the Azure pieces today. We're going to focus kind of on the low code side. But as I said, there's some devices here running on edge. They are sending data to IoT Hub within Azure. There's some processing that's happening here with an Azure function. And then it's sending this data to an Event Hub and storing some data in the Azure Data Lake. From here to Power Automate, there's a trigger within Power Automate that is capturing these events as they come across. Now, also here, there's an arrow to custom question answering, because the idea here is that we wanted to send notifications to Teams to let people know that there was some sort of severe weather alert, but we also wanted something interactive. So if someone receives a tornado watch, they can say, well, what is a tornado watch, or how fast is a tornado, or ask just general questions about severe weather that can now go to our cognitive services and answer the questions back kind of in real time. Also, we're saving this data in Dataverse so that we have kind of a historical Power App. So in case I want to look and see okay, what were all the events there that came through for Tulsa or Wichita, we can just search for them in the app. So first, I'm going to come across here and show the flows. So this first flow here is a Power Automate workflow that has the trigger from Event Hubs. I'm just going to show one of these successful flows. So here you can see where we're capturing all of the events as they come available in Event Hub in Azure. This is sort of the Fusion connector here that connects back to Azure. Then we go through, we have the events that come across, And all of this information about the severe weather alert, this comes through, we just sort of parse it, put it in a little bit better format so that then we can send that data to Dataverse, and we can also send it to teams. So here we're getting the team of people. We have a Midwest team that's in our Teams chat that will get all the notifications about all these severe weather alerts, because essentially they are in cities that would be near where the devices are recording this data. And then for each one of these messages, basically it loops through each one of the people, and then it posts a notification in the Teams chat. So now I'm going to show you, this is the Power App. I have a weather events history here, which now records also these events. This is just loading from Dataverse, all of these events. If I care mostly about Tulsa, then I can search, get only Tulsa events, and then look at specific ones, and I can remove them also here. If I say like, okay, maybe this weather alert wasn't actually a severe event, it was just some data that came from the device, then I can remove that if I want to. The other part that I want to show here is the chatbot that sort of backs this chat that we're going to do within Teams, sort of this interactive chat. So there's a concept of topics here within Power Virtual Agents, but also there is a fallback topic that you can add so that if your chat does not fall into these existing topics that you have, maybe the default topics, then it will go to a fallback topic. And within this fallback topic, you can do calls to cognitive services like I'm doing here via flow. You can also make any other calls to APIs. So let's say if the question that comes in as an unrecognized input, you could send this to an API and get an answer back that way. I've created a Power Automate flow that sends the questions to custom question answering within Azure. And look at one of these successful runs here. So essentially from the Power Virtual Agent, it's going to send a question like I asked, what is Tornado Alley in a previous conversation with the bot. It's going to send this to custom question answering. This is the custom question answering connector here. And then here I'm just initializing a variable. This is just so I can store the answer that's coming back. But basically the question will go from the Power Virtual Agent to question answering. As the questions come back, it's going to loop through them. It's going to select the best answer, and it's going to send that here across. And then it's going to return the value back to Power Virtual Agents. So here, if I say, what is a cyclone, then it's going to make that call back to the cognitive service. And that comes back really quickly, considering that it's going through this flow. It's going all the way back to Azure. It's sending Azure a question. It's getting this answer, and here it is. So within Power Virtual Agents, you can also use channels. So I am using the Teams channel here to now publish a spot and send it to Teams so that we can see our alerts and interact with them. So this is what it looks like. So here I've got many alerts coming through, but this is all the data that's coming from those devices in Azure IoT Hub. So essentially each device is a different city here. So Tulsa, Topeka, Wichita, and they're all sending different types of alerts across. But if I'm seeing this in Teams, then I might ask, what is a, tornado watch? Because maybe I don't know the difference between a watch and a warning. And when I send that out, then it will hit that Power Automate flow. It will send the question to custom answers and then to custom question answering. And then I will get this answer back here in chat. And then I have this interactive bot in addition to getting these events that came across.
Wow, that's really cool. I love how you're using pretty much every piece of the Power Platform, and we haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen, traditionally a lot of Fusion samples with Power Virtual Agents in there too. You see a lot of Power Apps, Fusion, and even
Hmm.
Power Automate, but love that Power Virtual Agents integration, and even within the context of Teams as well, to be able to get those kind of proactive alerts and then have that FAQ back and forth. That's a
Hmm.
really cool scenario, and I need that personally, living in Tornado Alley myself here in Tulsa. So
I
it's
was I
really
was I was thinking of you, and when I was creating this, I was like, oh, this is something April will personally care about. But it's really nice too, that Teams connector that I was using within Power Automate. That allows me to send notifications across to Teams. But if I want those notifications to be really personalized and look nice, then doing it via a PVA it is even a little bit nicer. Even if you don't want to interact with the bot, just having your own personalized icon, and of course, then the new feature, which is Power Apps Cards, I'm already thinking about how I'm going to integrate
yeah.
that into the newest version of those apps.
Well, that's cool. We'll have to have you back on to show that, because yeah, that was
Yeah,
the first thing when I saw that pop up. I'm like, oh, this would be cool with the power cards too. So
yeah. Hmm.
very cool. Well, this was amazing. Thanks for showing us and just kind of expanding our knowledge here on different ways that we can integrate from the pro dev side with the Power Platform. It's been amazing. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Linda.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, and make sure to check out the sample that's available there on the GitHub repo. And we'll see you next time on the Low Code Revolution.